Welcome back. Glad you're here. Imagine giving everything you have to someone, your time, energy, resources, only to find that it doesn't lead to the loyalty you are expecting. It's a harsh truth, but here it is. Women's loyalty doesn't work the way most men think it does. You might believe that by sacrificing and constantly proving your worth, you can guarantee her loyalty, but that's not how it works. In fact, the more you try to prove yourself, the faster you might push her away. So why is that? It all comes down to a simple yet powerful truth. Women aren't loyal to what you do for them. They're loyal to how you make them feel. This may seem like a subtle distinction, but it's one that will change the way you approach relationships forever. Once you understand this, everything you thought you knew about loyalty and love will make perfect sense. Most men are taught a lie from the very beginning. Be nice, be supportive, do more, give more, they are told. And so they invest everything, time, money, emotional labor, hoping that this will be the key to winning loyalty. In the beginning, it might seem to work. She appreciates the gestures, enjoys the attention, and benefits from the effort. But there's a dangerous misconception here. Appreciation does not equal loyalty. Comfort doesn't equal desire. Here's the first key psychological truth. Women attach to emotional experiences, not effort. It's not about how much you do, but how she feels when she's with you. You could give her everything, provide care, be attentive, but if the emotional experience fades, so does her attachment. Think about this. Some men do very little, yet women are completely captivated by them, while other men who give everything they've got still end up getting replaced. It's not about luck, it's about psychology. Female loyalty is rooted in emotional connection, not in a scorecard of effort. Now, here's the real game changer. Women are loyal to how a man makes them feel about themselves, not to his consistency or his sacrifices. It's not about earning loyalty through actions, it's about embodying a certain identity. When you start over-giving to secure her loyalty, you send a message that you're afraid of losing her, and fear kills attraction. This fear often leads to desperation. Think about it. When you're constantly trying to prove your worth, what are you really communicating? That you don't already believe you're enough. Women can sense this desperation, even if it's unspoken, and when they do, their attraction begins to fade. This is where men go wrong. They mistakenly think that by doing more, they'll secure loyalty. But this constant proving only creates insecurity, and it's insecurity that drives women away. And here's the truth that many men refuse to acknowledge. Women don't leave when a man is bad, they leave when a man becomes emotionally weak. When a man starts reacting rather than leading, when he seeks validation instead of establishing boundaries, when he over-explained himself rather than standing firm, this is when loyalty begins to slip away. It doesn't happen overnight, but it happens. I've seen it too many times. A man who was once confident, strong, and grounded slowly starts to become insecure. He starts asking, "Are we okay?" more often. He apologizes for things that don't need an apology. He needs constant reassurance. And as this emotional shift happens, so does her emotional distance. It's not that she doesn't care. It's that the emotional connection has fundamentally changed. She might still appreciate him, but the loyalty, that's gone. Now let's talk about the power of identity. This is a game-changing truth that most men completely overlook. Women aren't loyal to your personality or your efforts. They're loyal to your identity. This might sound like a subtle difference, but it's the core reason why some men can effortlessly maintain loyalty, while others struggle despite their best efforts. When your identity is strong, when you know who you are and what you stand for, your actions matter less. A man who walks away when disrespected, who doesn't collapse emotionally, and who doesn't beg for attention, conveys a high level of internal value. It's this internal value that draws women in and keeps them loyal. Think about the man who doesn't chase after every validation, who isn't always available, and who doesn't apologize for things that aren't his fault. These actions communicate strength, and it's this strength that attracts loyalty. On the other hand, a man who continually seeks approval, who is desperate for reassurance, or who becomes emotionally dependent, is signaling weakness, and women are not loyal to weakness. This is one of the hardest pills for many men to swallow. They believe that if they're kind, if they give, if they do everything right, they'll earn loyalty. But the truth is, loyalty isn't something you earn by giving more. It's something that's inspired by who you are as a person. When you have a strong identity, loyalty naturally follows, but when your identity is weak, no amount of effort will make her stay. So, how do you build that identity? It starts with self-respect. When you respect yourself, your boundaries, and your values, you naturally attract people who respect you in return. Self-respect is the foundation of loyalty, and without it, no amount of effort will make a woman stay. Women are loyal to men who are clear about who they are, who have direction in their lives, and who can stand firm without needing constant validation. Now, this doesn't mean that you should be cold or indifferent. It's not about being emotionally unavailable or distant. It's about being emotionally self-sufficient. It's about knowing that your value doesn't depend on how much you give or how much someone else validates you. When you have this internal strength, loyalty flows towards you naturally. Another key to understanding loyalty is recognizing the difference between obligation and loyalty. There's a major difference here, and most men confuse the two. A woman can feel obligated to you. She might appreciate you, feel comfortable with you, or even feel indebted to you for the things you've done, but that doesn't mean she's loyal to you. Obligation is a mental tally of what you've done for her. Loyalty, on the other hand, is deep and emotional. It's about the connection she feels with you and the respect she has for you. When a woman stays out of obligation, she's mentally keeping score. She's counting what you've done and weighing it against what she's received. But when she stays out of loyalty, there's no scorecard. She stays because of who you are, not because of what you've provided for her. This is why the men who make the mistake of overgiving often end up losing the woman. They think that by giving more, they'll secure her loyalty, but all they're doing is creating a sense of obligation, and obligation is fragile. It's based on what's been given, not on who the man is. Loyalty, on the other hand, is stable. It's built on respect, emotional connection, and identity. When a woman feels emotionally aligned with the man she's with, she stays because of the bond they share, not because of what he gives her, and this is the loyalty that lasts. Let's talk about momentum now, because this is another key factor that women are loyal to. Women are not loyal to the past, they are loyal to the present and the future. When a man is moving forward in life, when he's growing, evolving, and pursuing new goals, she feels that pull. She feels emotionally drawn into his momentum. But when he stops growing, when he gets comfortable, stagnates, or stops challenging himself, that's when her emotional alignment with him begins to fade. Female attraction is not rooted in nostalgia. It's not about who you were in the past. It's about who you are right now and where you're going. This is why stagnation can kill relationships, often without either party realizing it. A man might think that as long as things are comfortable, his relationship is secure, but the reality is that if he stops evolving, she will start emotionally detaching. Think about it. How many relationships have you seen fall apart because the man stopped pursuing something? He got too comfortable. He stopped challenging himself, and as a result, the woman who once admired him started to look at him differently. The spark didn't disappear because of an argument or some major falling out. It disappeared because he stopped doing anything at all. He stopped growing, and with that, her loyalty started to fade. It's a painful truth, but it's one that many men overlook. Comfort isn't the key to keeping her, growth is. When you're moving forward, when you're pursuing excellence, when you're constantly learning and challenging yourself, she feels emotionally aligned with you. But when you stop, when you lose direction, that's when the emotional connection starts to weaken. And here's something critical. How a man handles loss is just as important as how he handles success. Women are loyal to men who can handle loss with grace. When things go wrong, when there's conflict, when emotions rise, does he stay grounded or does he fall apart? A man who can face setbacks without losing himself, without reacting emotionally, is a man who becomes irreplaceable. But unfortunately, most men respond to loss in a way that pushes women away. They panic, they react. They can't handle the loss. And in doing so, they lose their own sense of self. But the men who can handle loss with dignity, who can say, I care about you, but I won't beg, becomes unforgettable. Women aren't just loyal to a man's successes, they're loyal to his emotional stability. They're loyal to the man who can stay grounded, no matter the circumstances. When a man is able to maintain his sense of self in the face of challenges, he becomes someone she can't easily let go of. Now, let's dive into something most men don't understand: emotional tests. Women don't consciously test men, but they do test them emotionally. It's subtle, but it's there. Women often pull away slightly, create distance, or become colder, not because they want to see who you really are when there's no reassurance coming from them. This is where most men fail. They see this emotional withdrawal as a threat. They panic, they chase, they try to explain themselves over and over. They do everything to close the gap, but in doing so, they only push her further away. When a woman pulls away emotionally, she's not trying to leave, she's trying to see how you react. If you chase her, if you become desperate, if you explain yourself endlessly, you fail. But if you remain centered, detached, yet present, her loyalty deepens. This is where emotional restraint becomes your most powerful tool. It's not about being cold or detached. It's about not relying on her validation to define your worth. When you don't react emotionally, when you don't chase, when you don't panic, you show her that you are emotionally stable. This emotional mastery is rare, and it's incredibly attractive. When you can stay grounded, no matter how much she pulls away, you communicate strength, and strength is what makes a man irreplaceable. But this doesn't mean that women want a man who is emotionally unavailable or indifferent. What they want is a man who can maintain his emotional center, no matter what's happening around him. Women are loyal to men who can face challenges, conflict, and uncertainty without losing themselves. Emotional stability, especially in times of emotional testing, is what makes a man stand out. Now let's talk about what women are not loyal to. This is where a lot of men make critical mistakes. Women are not loyal to over-availability. They're not loyal to emotional dependency, people-pleasing behavior, or self-sacrifice without boundaries. These behaviors might feel safe, but safety without attraction leads to indifference, and indifference is the beginning of the end. Good men often make the mistake of thinking that being always available, always accommodating, and constantly sacrificing will create loyalty. But what these behaviors actually do is signal a lack of women are not attracted to men who don't have their own life, their own boundaries, and their own sense of self. When you don't have boundaries, when you are constantly available and overly accommodating, you show her that you have no self-respect. If you have no self, then there's nothing for her to be loyal to. Loyalty is built on respect, self-respect, and mutual respect. When a man has a strong sense of who he is, when he values himself, he becomes someone who inspires loyalty. Now let's talk about the biggest mistake men make: confusing love with loyalty. Many men believe that if they love a woman enough, if they're kind enough, if they treat her well, she will stay loyal to them. But this is where they get it wrong. Love is emotional. It's about feelings, connection, and attraction. Loyalty, on the other hand, is built on respect. It's about admiration, value, and self-worth. A woman can love a man deeply, but still leave him if she doesn't feel respected. Love fluctuates with emotions and circumstances, but respect is constant. It's a foundation. Respect doesn't come from what you do for her. It comes from how you value yourself. When a woman respects you, that respect will remain even when love feels distant. But if she doesn't respect you, no amount of love will keep her loyal. This is why women often stay with men they respect, even if their romantic has dimmed. Respect is what holds relationships together when things get tough. When a woman respects you, she doesn't feel the need to leave, even if she's not feeling the same intensity of love that she once did. She stays because of the foundation of respect you've built. But when a man starts to overgive, overplease, or loses his sense of self, the respect fades. And when the respect fades, loyalty follows suit. This is why being too good, too available, too accommodating can backfire. It signals weakness, a lack of self-worth, and a man who needs validation. Women don't stay loyal to men who need them to feel validated. They stay loyal to men who are already grounded in their own worth. So, what are women truly loyal to? They're loyal to emotional strength, self-respect, direction, and identity. Women are loyal to how they feel in a man's presence, not what he does for them. It's about the power of your presence, not the things you do for her. And it's this emotional strength, self-respect, and sense of self that inspires loyalty. Now, you might be thinking that this sounds like a harsh truth, but it's the reality. If you want a woman to stay loyal to you, you must stop trying to prove yourself to her. Stop trying to earn her loyalty through effort and sacrifice. Instead, focus on building a strong sense of self. Focus on your own growth, your own identity, and your own emotional mastery. When you do this, loyalty becomes effortless. This isn't about being manipulative or cold. It's about embodying strength, having boundaries, and respecting yourself. It's about not needing validation from her because you already know your value. When you stop seeking her approval, when you stop giving endlessly to prove your worth, you start embodying the kind of man who naturally inspires loyalty. The final truth is this: female loyalty is not about fairness or deserving. It's about primal psychology that runs deep beneath conscious awareness. You can fight against it, call it unfair, or wish it were different, but it won't change anything. Understanding this is what will help you build better relationships. When you accept reality as it is, you can navigate it with wisdom, not confusion. Women are loyal to strength, not sacrifice. They are loyal to presence, not absence. They are loyal to who you are, not what you do. The more you try to earn her loyalty by giving, the less you'll receive. The more you embody strength, respect, and self-worth, the more she will be naturally drawn to you. This shift is powerful. It's about who you are becoming, not what you're doing. When you stop trying to earn loyalty, you begin to attract it effortlessly. The moment you stop chasing, stop overgiving, and start embodying your value, everything shifts. She listens more, respects you more, feels more deeply connected. Loyalty becomes a natural byproduct of the emotional strength and self-respect you radiate. So, if this video gave you clarity on how to build loyalty in your relationships, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to check out our other videos for more insights into psychology and relationships. These are the truths that most people are afraid to talk about, but they're the ones that will change the way you approach love and loyalty forever. Thank you for watching. Always appreciated.